about I've always had a problem with tough guys. I'm the guy that had to be tougher than the tough guy, right? And I was always clashing. And let me tell you something. I was in Clinton Annex, right? And there was this kid. He was a gang member. He was a big dude. He used to push his weight around. He was a bully basically, and he would go in the freaking kitchen. You know, we had a kitchen there. You been to Clinton Annex, Nick?
No, I was in the attic. I was in the main.
Okay. Yeah, he was tougher than me then. So he would go in the kitchen and take your pot off the stove and put his shit on the stove and like nothing. And I remember the anxiety I used to feel, and I would fantasize about stabbing this dude like repeatedly. Like I would have this rage, but he never violated me. Like he knew who to fuck with. You understand what I'm saying? But here, check it out. One day my roommate comes in, right, and he says, he's coming in there like, oh, I said, what happened? And he said that the dude is standing in the bathroom doorway and bumps him and staring him down. My roommate was a gangster, bro. Like but he wanted to get a trailer. You understand? And he said that he'd been down 17 years, and every time he went to go for a trailer visit, he would go to the box, right? And I got so enraged, right, that I went out to do razor exchange, and the dude is standing in the fucking doorway. And as I'm approaching him, I said, yo, my man, I know you ain't staying. You know, I said some shit like that. He was like, what? You know, he made this face and shit. Yo, and I put the beats on this dude, bro. I couldn't stop fucking this dude up. Yo, I didn't even realize how strong I was, but I picked this. Yo, I hit him, grabbed him, slammed him, got on top of him, and the fucking COs was like, I'm gonna pull the pin, break it up, I'm gonna pull the pin. And the COs came and they beat my ass and they took me to Keep Lock. And this is the humiliating part, right? Because my ego feels good about that shit, right? But here's the humiliating part, right? I go to my tier hearing, right? And it was a Puerto Rican dude named Lopez. He was a civilian, and he says to me, he turns the recorder off.
Yeah, tier 3.
Exactly. And he says to me, yo, you cleaned that guy's clock. He signed into PC, and he said, but do you know that he got psychological issues? Mm-hmm. You know that he has a 2nd grade education? You know that he's been abused as a child? And I was like, yo, I feel like crying now, bro, because, that shit fucked me up, bro. Like, he was stabbing me. And I went back to my cell, bro, and I was crying. And I would look at him, right? And he was in this corner cell, right? That was like the PC cell. But it was in front of my cell. You know what I'm saying? And he wouldn't even look at me, bro. And he wouldn't talk to nobody in the tier because he signed in. So his gang affiliate brothers was saying that he was fooled, meaning that when they get him, he's fucked up. And I felt terrible, man. I still feel terrible because I don't know what happened to that kid. You know what I'm saying? But what I want to share is that when I hear your story and I heard his story, it helped me to understand people. That tough guys are really afraid. They're covering something up. You understand? I know I did.
Yeah.
When you talked about identity crisis, I grew up in Castle Hill Projects. I look white, right? I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban, right? But I look white. I had straight hair, freckles. So I was called Spanky, Opie, Richie Cunningham, and all these damn names, Mad from Mad Magazine. And I used to fight in school all the time and get suspended. And I hated myself. I hated the way I looked. I just hated myself, bro. I wanted to be darker, I wanted to be taller. I didn't like nothing about, and I had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. And I remember going to Rikers Island, and I remember the Latin Kings in the early 90s came up to me and said, yo, you Puerto Rican? And I was like, yeah. And this dude says to me, well, why you look white? And I was like, what? And he was like, yo, sign up for the library. And I was like, what you mean sign up for the library? He said, if you don't sign up for the library, we got you out of here. In other words, they was gonna jump me or cut me or whatever the hell they was gonna do at the time. And my pride, bro, like I fought it for a minute. But I looked and I saw there was, at that time, if you remember the early 90s, Latin Kings were powerful, bro. You know what I mean? They were really strong. This is when the blood started forming to counteract, you know, the abuse that was happening, you know. And anyway, I went to the library and they gave me a book on the history of Puerto Rico, right? And I never, you know, I didn't read books. I didn't give a shit about school, right? But I learned that, you know, that I'm predominantly, you know, the European part of me is predominant, you know, because my grandfather, which is Cuban, which I studied also, his family migrated to Cuba from Spain. So they were European. They were white. You know what I'm saying? And my mother's side, her mother, and my father's side, my father has African blood in him. You understand? So, understanding that and understanding that the whole stuff helped me to forgive people and forgive myself for things that I did, because I thought there was something wrong with me, because I used to fall short a lot, but I was enraged, bro. I was enraged, you know. So these type of groups, the vision that I have is that, and the reason why I invited you guys, especially, you know, is because I know that your message and your story, not only, like you said, just the history of it, but what are we doing now? You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives people hope that, damn, you know what, I went through that shit, and I might be in a dark place right now. And I was telling you this yesterday in the car, or the day before yesterday, right? Where I shared that, you know, Barkem and I remember Barkem and I used to be sitting in the car a lot. And you know, and I won't tell his story, but he was in a dark place at one time, man. And I was in a different place, right? And now the roles are reversed, right? So now I'm in the passenger seat, right? And I'm not in a dark place because he gives me hope. I see the potential. I already know what's gonna happen because I see his process. You get what I'm trying to say? So he's my future, you know, and I'm his past right now. Where prior, I was your future and you was my past. You get what I'm saying? So this is needed, man. This is needed because if you look at my inbox on Facebook, crazy, bro. Crazy. They ask all type of stuff, you know? So, you know, I just wanted to share that, like, you know, it helped me to be more humble, man. I don't have to fight everybody, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to be the guy who has to prove that I'm tougher than you know what I'm saying? So, anyway.
Yeah, and I want to go